It is the big one. Ravens, Bills, Lamar, Josh Allen preview here on the Purple Rain podcast. Yes, welcome back to episode 293 of the Purple Rain podcast. Lawrence Guy, Corey Redding, D'Angelo Tyson, Keith Washington, Dewan Edwards, Chris Wormley, and should have been a Raven once again, Calais Campbell episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you for spending your Thursday evening with us, your Friday Eve with us. We have so much to talk about, preview, predictions, score predictions, all that good stuff, special guests. But thank you all for coming through. We can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. Follow this guy right here on Instagram or on X at SUTTON. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod or on X at simplyas10. And like you see right there, Manscaped. Use code PRP, 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. It is a fantastic deal, but I've got to ask you, how was your week? How are we doing? How are the vibes right now before the game?
Hey man, the vibes are high. The vibes are very high right now for me as a Ravens fan. I'm excited to get to Sunday, at 6:30 or whenever the hell the game starts. I mean, honestly, I've been anticipating and like looking into like doing my deep dive on this game so many times, like day in, day out. Like I wake up and I'm like scouring the internet for like new interesting facts and things like that. I'm just ready for this one to kick off because there's been a lot of shit talk. Let me just go ahead and put it plainly there. There's been a lot of shit talk between these two fan bases, and honestly, I'm fed up with it. I'm ready for them to for those two teams to tango, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So we have our first, we have another, a gifted Purple Rain podcast membership. You see that?
Dude, just give me a second to bring it up here. Hey,
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lisa Marie gifting it to Gaming with Dragon. We truly appreciate that. Thank you very much. What a way to start off our stream already. That's good vibes right there. That's good as good vibes you can get. But yeah, like you said, there has been a lot of trash talking. I've seen it online. Definitely expected from both sides, but it'll make for a great game on Sunday at 6:30. So you want to bring up who is in the chat here? So we have K Dog saying, "Yo, Rain Gang family, what's good on this divisional round of playoffs Friday Eve?" Giving a shout out to the replay gang as always. Twin saying, "First live join in a minute, but he's here. Thank you for coming through." Thea Pendle, what's up, PRP? SG, what's up, Rain Gang? RG saying he has work, but he's gonna oh no, he has to stop in live for his game. Oh, good luck on your game, RJ. Win like the Ravens on Sunday. Killer Cam saying what's up. Keon saying he's scared for the game. We'll talk about all of that. Theo Peno saying can we win a shootout? Got a lot to talk about. A whole lot to talk about. But like you said, the vibes are good. Um, are you feeling more confident or the same as the Steelers game?
I think I'm actually feeling a little bit more confident in this game than I was about the Steelers game, to be honest with you. I don't really know why, to be honest, because this Bills team is head and shoulders better than the Steelers. But the thing about the Steelers, of course, is that they know us so well, and I think that that was a very important test to pass first and foremost. But now that we've passed it and we're on to the Bills, I think that this Bills team has a lot of different weaknesses, which we'll get into a little bit later on the show. But they've got a lot of different weaknesses that I think that this Ravens team can exploit in multiple different ways, if I'm being completely honest with you. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm ready to get into it. So let me see. Let me just bring up a couple more people here in the chat while we're at it. Let me see. Take a couple questions before we get into our keys to victory. Thea Pino says, I only got one question for y'all. Can we win this even with King Henry under 100 yards rushing? I think we can definitely win it with with Derrick Henry under 100 yards, but it makes it a whole lot tougher because if he's not getting 100 yards rushing at least, that means that we're not really having our way on the ground, which means the Bills are having some success stopping the run, which bodes well for their time of possession and not so much for ours, right? So it would give Josh Allen more opportunities to score, and that's not what we want at all. But what do you think, Alex?
It's gonna be hard. It means we're probably losing the time of possession battle. Unfortunately, we need him to get going to keep them drives going, keep those long drives going. Um, Under 100, it's possible. If you say under like 75, I'm going with a no. But that for me, like that key right there is at 90 plus because we're undefeated. I believe now we're 8-0 in games where he runs over 90 yards. I think that's the key, or we haven't lost when he runs over 90 yards. But I think he can break that in the first half, that 90 yards, honestly, or maybe even 100 if we can get going. And if the offensive line plays the same way it did last week, I don't fear this Bills D line no as close to what I fear about with the Steelers. TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, who we dealt with pretty easily. If you watch the Hard Knocks, like they were gassed, in the first half. They didn't know what hit them. If we can come with that same type of energy, that same type of game plan, I would love to just run down their throats again and have this game hopefully out of reach in the third quarter. Most likely not going to happen, but for me, that line has to be 90. Got to hit 90 for Derrick Henry for us to have a real chance to win this game.
No, yeah, definitely agree there. 90, I think, is kind of like a magic number, right? If we can get to 90, I don't even know what the record is, but I think if it's 90 or more, we have a very, very high winning percentage this season, rushing yards, that is, for Derrick Henry. So let's go ahead and let's get into our keys to victory because, like you said, we do have some guests coming on tonight, man, and it's going to be a very, very fun episode. So here's the thing. Keys to victory for this game. For me, I'm gonna get a little bit more specific in my keys to victory this week. Let me start off on defense, and Alex, and then I'll toss it to you, and I want to know how you feel about this as well. So on defense, right? When I'm looking at this Buffalo Bills team, and I was thinking about this last night, Josh Allen is, of course, the main factor, the X factor on that offense. I believe our pass rush is good enough to flush him out of the pocket. I do. But my thing is, I think that he's more comfortable rolling out to his right or being flushed out to his right because that's how he makes the biggest plays down the field, rolling out to his right and throwing, those deep bombs. We saw even one happen in that Week 4 matchup in the blowout, right? So my thing is, if we're going to be lined up, either in our base defense, 4-3, 3-4, whatever we're lined up in, Adafe Owe is going to be a big key to victory for me in this one. Line him up on Josh Allen's right side. As a quarterback, he needs to be on Josh Allen's right. So if Josh Allen starts to roll out to the right, we have a guy, a speed edge, who can get there and chase him down towards the boundary. That exact same thing happened in the Week 4 matchup, and he got a sack on Josh Allen, a big sack on third down that really turned the tides in that game. So that's going to be one of my biggest keys to victory. But Alex, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm right there with you with that. To kind of piggyback, my key is honestly to not let him roll out for the D line to collapse around him because he makes his best plays, like you said, when he rolls out. And their only big play against us in Week 4 was when he rolled out, went deep, I believe, to Khalil Shakir. They got to like the 2 or 3 yard line with a great tackle there. But I'm all for it with Owe because we know that speed. Not saying he can beat him in a race, but if he takes the right angle, get him out of bounds or get him to at least slow down for some help to come. But I'm so for me, like if our line can just do their job and just pressure on him, limit him from making plays with his legs. Similar to how people talk about Lamar, honestly. Except Lamar is more of he can get out of even collapse pockets. As for Josh, though, it's when he gets out, it's tackling him, which is a problem. You're not worried about getting juked or anything like that. It's tackling. So for me, D line closing in and just stopping those lanes or just even chances for him to run. I don't know if we'll run a spy. I feel like we would, but that's definitely one of my keys right there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And before we get into another key to victory, we do have a very, very special guest who has just joined us here in the house. Going to go ahead and bring him up in a second. This is our guy who actually joined us in the off season, right? A couple of you guys already know who he is. I know a lot of you guys know who he is. He is the podcaster, the main podcaster for Locked On Ravens YouTube channel, then also the writer for the Ravens Wire. This is none other than our guy, Kevin Ostreicher. Can you hear us?
I can. I just heard that. Yes.
There we go.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. How you doing,
Okay.
brother?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for this one. I feel like this was just the matchup of destiny. Like wild card round, everybody's talking about, well, what if Pittsburgh upsets the Ravens, or what if the Broncos upset the Bills? It was Ravens Bills the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I think that a lot of people saw this one come in, and a lot of people are going to be heavily anticipating the next matchup. However, this one shakes out between the Bills and the Ravens. I think a lot of people expect the Chiefs to take care of the Texans, right? So that AFC Championship game is going to be absolutely bonkers, no matter what happens. But we are here to talk about Bills Ravens tonight. And listen, Kevin, we really value your opinion. That's why we got you back on the show. That's why we got you on the show originally over the offseason. So what we want to know from you is what are your biggest keys to victory? Top two, even keys to victory for the Ravens to walk out of Buffalo with a W and another ticket punch to the AFC Championship game.
I think first of all, you just have to keep playing mistake-free football. I think we've seen the story too many times this year, and it hasn't been recently, luckily, but where the Ravens have either committed too many penalties, or they have had miscommunication issues, or they're just, bad play calls, bad execution. If the Ravens, for example, with the penalties, what's been a killer for them this season, and I know you guys know this, is if Derrick Henry picks up 8 yards on first down, but then an offensive lineman gets a holding call, you go from 2nd and 2 to 1st and 20, and that just kills a drive. And that has caused multiple Ravens losses this season. I know there's been a lot made of the referees that are going to be going to Buffalo for this game and home versus road splits. And I think that people think that that's not enough, not anything. I actually think there is some merit to that because it is trends. Now, am I saying they're going to throw the game for the Bills? Obviously not. But I just think that in some way, shape, or form, you can't let the refs decide the game. I think that's the big thing. The Ravens can have a bad penalty game and still win. I just think it hurts when you can clearly point to it as the reason that they lose. And I think that a lot of different people, they talk about how the biggest opponent to the Ravens is themselves, where if the Ravens play their brand of football, there is not any team left in this playoffs, I think, that can beat them. And that's not a shot at any of the teammates or any of the players that play on opposing teams. But this, with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, that defense playing the way that it is, this team can be unstoppable, but they just have to stay out of their own way. And then secondly, I know the run game is going to be the big point here for the Ravens. The way the Bills match up against Baltimore, they have dudes on all three levels, but they're a smaller defensive line. They like playing in nickel packages. They like playing base defense. The Bills are going to have to be uncomfortable for most of this game, and they're going to have to be because they can't play small against this Ravens team. Ravens are trotting out 300-pound dudes on the offensive line, Patrick Ricard, and obviously Derrick Henry. You can't put multiple defensive backs out there and expect to have success. So one of the big things for me, and my second key, is time of possession. And this was a big thing with Greg Roman. Obviously, it's less so with Todd Monken and his offense because that offense gets crazy efficient at times. But we saw the Ravens hold the ball for 40 minutes against the Bills, and you had against the Steelers, excuse me. And then you had the Bills hold the ball for 41 minutes against the Broncos. The best way to limit Josh Allen is to keep him off the field. Don't let him get opportunities. That's the big thing for me. And it's obviously vice versa with Lamar Jackson. So you put together a 13-play, 85-yard, all-rushing play drive, that could be big, just limiting Josh Allen's opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely agree with everything you just said there. And an important tidbit, something interesting that I took away from that was you mentioned how the Bills defensive line is a little bit lighter, right? They're a little bit lighter than your average defensive line, and they actually are pretty average in terms of their defensive front ranking according to PFF. But I did some math earlier today, and the lineman for the defensive lineman, that is for the Bills, and the offensive lineman for the Ravens, there is a huge weight gap between the two. It's like 400, 500 pounds. Like the Ravens run heavy, so I really think that they might they might just run over them. To be honest with you, that's my hope at least. Like I'm sure that the Bills are going to have to manufacture, I guess you could say, run stops because just naturally, are they going to be able to force the run, to be stopped? I don't think that they're going to be able to do that on the same capacity that like a Philadelphia Eagles, somebody who's got like a Jordan Davis, a Jalen Carter on that line, right? They don't have those guys necessarily on the line. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But Alex, what say you?
Yeah, and you bring about penalties. I actually put myself through the hell of rewatching the game of 2020 yesterday. I know I did that to myself. I deserve it. And one thing that stood out to me was the Justin Madubuike, back then Justin, roughing the passer call on Josh Allen, who actually flopped there. Discipline is going to be huge here. I know you want to hit the quarterback, but with Allen, we're getting that stretch where if you touch these guys a certain way, they're going to throw that flag, that yellow marker. So discipline. Like you said here, Kevin, we can play and beat anybody on our game, but we're our biggest enemies and stuff like that. Those 15-yarders, giving them free first downs like that. You cannot do this against the best teams in the league. You got to cut that down and just know who you're playing as well. I know Owe likes to hit him late sometimes. Madubuike has about 4 or 5 roughing the passer calls this year. You got to cut them here in January.
I'm with you on that. And I feel like, too, the big thing with the Ravens and the Bills in particular is that mistakes also include turnovers. And these are two very low mistake 3 quarterbacks. Obviously, Lamar had 4 interceptions this season. Josh had 6, which was a big improvement for Josh. I know a lot of conversation around him has been the high interception rate and the high turnover rates, but I agree with you, Alex, where it's like you can't figure out all of this situation with the Ravens where it's like, okay, if you can get in your game, you can get in that zone, Ravens get a momentum play, you're kind of like, okay, they're rolling and they're not going to be stopped. But all of a sudden, if you go out there and you're committing penalties, you're giving the Bills extra lives and extra opportunities, you're walking them down the field with flags, that can do you in, especially in the playoffs where mistakes are 10 times more amplified.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I love everything we're saying right now. If you are in the comments and you agree or you disagree, let us know. Please let us know, and why as well. If you're not part of the live chat right now, you're part of the hashtag replay gang. First of all, hello. Thank you so much for joining this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. We got about 62 people watching live right now. I appreciate all of y'all for coming through. Make sure you like the video as well. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. But in the meantime, we do have yet another guest ready to come in here and chop it up with us about some Ravens football. This guy is actually the host of the Ravens Talk podcast and the co-host of the AFC North Roundtable. This is Samuel NJOKU. What's going on, Sam?
What's up, Sam?
Hey.
What's up?
Yeah. Appreciate you for coming through, man. Appreciate you for coming through.
Oh, thanks for the invite.
Of course. So we are in the midst of breaking down the biggest keys to victory for our Ravens to walk out of Buffalo with a W. So I know you, just like every other Ravens fan in existence right now, you've been thinking about it, mulling over it for the past couple of days, right? Ever since we won the wild card, or ever since it was announced that we were going to face the Bills. What are your biggest keys to victory for the Ravens to win and punch their ticket to the AFCCG?
Be who you are. I mean, you're a power run team with a running back who's really a speed back with power, so continue to be who you are. Do not deviate from that. If for whatever reason you're down early, 7-point leads, 10-point lead for the Bills, don't deviate from who you are. Continue to run that football and set the tone, and use that weather, use that, size that you have in the offensive line to your advantage, and don't deviate. That's what we saw in the AFC Championship game. The Ravens got nervous, got scared. It's one and done. It's an elimination game. I get it. Play your game, and I don't think there's any team in the league that can really stop them. So as long as they play to their strengths, be who they are, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the biggest problem with the Ravens. We always say what team's going to show up. Since the bye week, the Ravens that we know and that we expect to show up every single game, we haven't really deflected back to who we were, which honestly to me was against the Eagles game. And to me, I've said it on here, the Eagles game felt like a Ravens playoff game in past memory. Night game at the bank, went away from who we were, couldn't get the run going, panicked, drops. I'm hoping that cold, bad offensive game is out of our hands already, and we can go on to these games now and the offense kicking. And going up to Buffalo, I'm looking at the weather. See, everybody's talking about it. I don't care how cold it is. I'm taking Derrick Henry over anybody. Taylor Rapp suffered a concussion that now he wears the Guardian cap in week 4. He's been wearing it since he met Derrick Henry. If you don't think that's in the back of his mind when trying to tackle this guy in 7-degree weather, 8-degree weather, you get a whole thing coming. And your team is looking at this guy wearing a Guardian cap saying, yeah, I tackled 22 and I'm wearing this now. Run the ball. It's really that simple. Stick to who the Ravens are. And this is what we built this team to be. In these games, 25 carries. Let's go.
I love that. Kevin, your thoughts?
Yeah, and this is the cold weather smash mouth football. Like, this is what it's supposed to be. And honestly, this is why you brought in Derrick Henry. I mean, I don't know about any of you guys, but if I have to tackle Derrick Henry for 4 quarters in sub-20 weather, I'm stepping out of the way and saying, go have fun in the end zone, man. You got this one, because that over and over again, and that's what Pittsburgh had to deal with, right? The Ravens ran the ball 50 times. They said, we're going to make you stop it. And if you can't stop it, we're going to do it over and over and over and over again. And you could tell that they just beat the will out of that Pittsburgh Steelers team for the entirety of those 4 quarters. So I think that Pittsburgh has a better defensive line in terms of size than Buffalo does, in terms of the physicality that they play with. And so, as I said, the Bills are going to have to be uncomfortable. And I know, Sam, I saw you talk about this a little bit on your podcast of like, the Bills are light. The Bills are a light defensive team, and that works against teams like Kansas City. Like, they match up better with Kansas City than they do with the Ravens. And I always have this comparison. I talk about it on my show. It's like the triangle diagram of people feel like the Bills match up better with the Chiefs. People obviously based off of history, Chiefs have gotten the better of the Ravens, and then the Ravens seems like they match up better with the Bills. So sometimes it is just matchup based, and you run into a team that matches up better with you. And I'm not saying the Bills can't win the game, but on paper, it clearly looks like smash mouth football. The Bills defense has dudes on it, but I think a lot of people talk about those Detroit games and those Ram games as like, oh, those were awesome games for the Bills. Yeah, for the offense, like the offense was killing in those games. The defense gave up 100 points combined in those two games. So, going to be a battle of the high-powered offenses. But if you're talking about washing out those two and strictly looking defense, I like the way Baltimore's defense has looked over Buffalo's right now.
Yeah, totally. And something that just kind of came to mind. I feel like predicting this matchup or kind of preparing for this matchup in an interesting way would be to think about what will be a key to victory for the Buffalo Bills over the Baltimore Ravens, because it kind of gives you a different perspective on things. Okay, like what's the number one thing? Like what's the catalyst for the Bills to shut down the Ravens and really walk out of Buffalo with another division crown, right? So, Alex, I want to start with you on this one. What do you surprise, surprise. What do you think would be a big key to victory for the Bills to beat the Ravens? Because that would give us some insight on what to look out for truly as a Ravens fan. So go ahead. Yeah.
It's 2025, all right? And can I tell you what I saw online? Everybody saw this too. Somebody said to make Lamar Jackson throw. Okay, cool. I mean, I thought this narrative was dead already, but I guess not. But if I'm a Bills fan, I hate to say it, it's attacking number 21. It's attacking that right side of the field. And unfortunately, I wouldn't have the utmost faith in him. I don't want to drag on him, but I think a big thing this week is Zach Orr going down, possibly the backups. Let's say if he's getting cooked and targeted, what are we going to do? We have Trey White. We can throw a safety over there and help him out. We can give him as much help as possible, but it gets to the point where we can't be putting two guys helping him out every single play. So if I'm a Bills fan, that's my biggest key. Coleman had a good catch against him in week 4. They have Cooper now, who he's had his way with us a couple of times when he was with the Browns. But outside of that, defensively, our D-line looks good. We have Michael Pierce back, who's like now a media darling and one of the best run stuffers in the league. So good luck, James Cook. And then our linebackers, Roquan and who else? To me, Chris Board's been playing some really damn good ball. I mean, if you had told me that week 1 that Chris Board would be one of a key piece of this defense, going to the division round, I would have called you a liar. But outside of that, it's just, unfortunately, number 21, that right side of our secondary.
Yeah, totally agree. Sam, toss it to you.
I think, I'll echo his sentiments. 21 is the weak link on this defense. I think every defense has one. Even the great defenses in Baltimore's past have had that. He's clearly that guy, and because it's a passing league, it's kind of magnified. I think that the Bills, the way they play offense, gives me a little more, easy feeling coming into that game, because I think the way you attack Stevens is with those intermediate short routes to start off with. The Bills don't really like to do that, and I think if the Bills do have that success, I think that's a situation you do see Tre'Davious White come in and sub him in for a couple of series. But if you're really trying to attack, Stevens deep, they do have Kyle Hamilton back there. The Ravens do play a lot more two high safety looks to give him that comfort. I think that big play in the Steelers game where I think Kyle Hamilton bit a little bit on a move, or maybe he was looking for the crossing route on the other side, kind of gave Stevens that one-on-one coverage that he didn't really look comfortable with. We've seen it all season long. But I think to take a step away from that, I think they need to get Josh Allen carrying the football early. I think we saw Lamar Jackson carry the football 15 times in that Steelers game. You get Josh Allen carrying the football, that takes pressure away from James Cook. And if you can get pressure away from James Cook, get the eyes away from James Cook, then you can start to run the football a little bit with James Cook and maybe get something going right with that, and probably make yourself a little more versatile in attacking this Ravens defense. Because if you try and just run the football traditionally against this defense, you're not going to have success. The Ravens are tops in the league when running the football. The Bills, whether you like it or not, are still a running football team. Their passing attack is cornered around getting the ball moving on the ground with James Cook. If they can't do that, it's going to be a tough day. So I think having Josh Allen get that mark away from James Cook early will pay dividends for the Bills.
Yeah. Got to shut down James Cook. That's going to be a big factor. Of course, I talked about earlier, shutting down Josh Allen's legs is going to be huge too. Shout out to the Don in the chat. Don C just became a member of the Rain Gang. What's going on, Don? Appreciate you for coming through. Longtime viewer of the show and just became a member. So shout out to you, man. Hopefully we win this one for you. We appreciate it, man. All right, so Kevin, what is going to be your biggest key to victory for the Buffalo Bills to potentially beat the Ravens, to give us a better perspective on things?
I'll go a little different. I will say the Bills have to be the better red zone team. than the Ravens. These are the number 1 and number 2 ranked red zone offenses in the league, the Ravens being 1 and the Bills being 2. The Ravens have tightened up. They've been a decent red zone defense all season, but they're 12th in the league. Buffalo is 16th in terms of red zone. We've seen, especially if this game does get close, if the Bills convert at a better clip than the Ravens do, and obviously we know about the tush pushes and Josh Allen sneaking it in from the 1 yard line and that high conversion rate there, you can't stall out in the red zone, especially either of these offenses, because you have to keep up with Baltimore. You have to keep up with Buffalo. And if you're trading in 7 for 3, that might not be the right formula for a victory, especially if this game does get high scoring. So both these teams convert in the red zone at over a 70% clip. They are both elite at doing so. Obviously, they both do it in different ways, but I think for the Bills, if they can stop the Ravens and force them into Justin Tucker field goals, and then on the other side of things, if Buffalo can convert and not trot Tyler Bass out there, obviously maybe it's just the math game that wins them this matchup.
That's another good point too. That's another good point. See, I was actually going to take it in a slightly different direction. I was going to say, I think you have to put pressure on the coaching, to be honest with you. I think you have to put pressure on them to kind of get out of their game plan and what they want to do. Apologize if you guys can hear my dog barking in the background. But you have to get them out of their game plan. And you saw what happened in the AFC Championship game last season. They basically made us throw the football, and that's why we only ran the football to running backs at least 6 times in that game. You know, so if you can score early, if you're a Bills team, you saw what the Steelers did last week. They won the toss and they received. I'll be very interested to know what the Bills do if they win the toss. Do they want to get the ball first, put Josh Allen on the field with that crowd is going crazy and try to gain some momentum first? Or do they want to give the ball to us? Do they really trust their defense to shut down this Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry-led offense? That'll be very interesting and fascinating. But, I mean, like you said, Kevin, we got to score touchdowns. You got to have 7, not 3, right? And if we say on our first drive, we get, I'd say like 0 to 3 points, or let's just say we get 0 points, and the Bills go out there and they score a touchdown, that could drastically change the game plan for the head coach and the offensive coordinator, as we've seen it happen in the past, right? And Todd Monken said it himself today, like a byproduct of being up and winning is that it affords you to be able to run the football. So my fear is just that if the Ravens do not run, well, if they go down early, right, they'll stop running the football, get away from their strengths, and you're going to ask Lamar Jackson to put the ball in the air 30 to 35 times, right? In that cold, freezing air, it's going to be windy, I'm sure, probably even a chance of snow. So that would probably be what I would say is going to be like a big key to victory for the Bills. You got to go out and attack this Ravens team early and get a lead, right? If you get a lead, you can totally force them out of their game plan, and they're just not the same team. So, any thoughts on that? Or before we move on to our score predictions?
I'm cool with score predictions if you are.
All right. Let's go ahead and move right along to score predictions here. So, this one is for me, and I'll go ahead and start. I think that this one is going to be a lot closer than a lot of Ravens fans think. I see a lot of Ravens fans online predicting a blowout. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson just going to run all over them. But my thing is, with this game here, I feel like the Bills are going to be a lot more intentional with trying to stop Derrick Henry early in the game and trying to stop Lamar Jackson running the ball very early. So I think this one is kind of going to be a joust throughout, guys. I really do. In my final score, I'm going to go 35 to 31 Ravens in this one. We scored the same amount of points that we did in week 4, but the Bills score a whole lot more than they did in week 4 because they're going to be playing with a lot of pride in this one. I feel like Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir have had a really good connection all season long. Khalil Shakir, I think, is the second leading receiver in yards after the catch, or yards after contact, I want to say. And that's huge. That's huge. If our guys cannot make tackles, I mean, we're talking about them being able to tackle Derrick Henry. We got to tackle Khalil Shakir and Josh Allen when he gets out of the pocket and things like that. So I think it's going to be a little bit closer than we expect, but I'm going to go 35-31. Ravens punch their ticket.
I like that. I'll go up next. I don't have it over the 30s. I do have us winning 28-24 with a Ravens defensive stop. Bills a chance to go and win the game. Got to score a touchdown, and we come up big. And the defense kind of shows, that they have really made that switch. With Ardarius going back there with Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams getting benched. They hold a great Bills offense to 4 down stop, and they win the game. So Ravens 28-24.
Okay.
All right, I'll go. I don't think it's as close as you guys think. I think that the run defense of the Bills is just not good enough. I just don't think they have what it takes. And I think that the way they play defense will very much have to change in this game. And they haven't shown me throughout the last 19 weeks that they're willing to change. I've heard a lot of Bills fans say they've changed to a little bit more of a 4-3 look. And that gives me a little more confidence that the Bills might go into this game not playing their nickel-based defense, which is what they've done a lot. I think Sean McDermott loves to play that defense because of the versatility it provides for their nickel cornerback. But I think in this game, if they don't switch and start heavy and really put some pressure on their linebackers to cover the tight ends, it's going to be another game where they're wondering how they got out of their hands so fast. So I'm going to say 31-21. I think the red zone offense of the Bills is enough where they can probably get some scores. The Ravens play a lot of bend but don't break, especially in the third quarter, which gives me some concern. But other than that, I think they've shown me that they can't stop Derrick Henry. No one's shown me that they can't stop Derrick Henry unless they play heavy. The Bills don't play heavy, so I think the Ravens win this.
I guess I'm up now, and I'm in the middle, and I agree with what Sam is saying most definitely about the defense for Buffalo, especially when they play one way during the entire course of the year, and then for this game, they're almost like, okay, now we have to change. If we want to have a shot, we have to change what we're doing, and like here's a whole new game plan on how to play defense. That's tough on like a 1 week get to know basis for any type of defense. So I think that the Ravens' run game will be an issue for Buffalo's run game. I think that I respect the Bills' offense to the point where I think it will give the Ravens some challenges. And much like Lamar Jackson will get his, Josh Allen will certainly get his as well. I'm going to go 29-23, so I'll shave 2 points off the Ravens score from Sam and tack them on to Buffalo's, because I always go like 28-21 or 17-4. They're very traditional. It never happens. So I just throw out like random odd numbers for my final scores, because there's always a 2-point conversion here, or on Christmas the Ravens like getting safeties, so like it's always that like 2 points that makes a difference.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I like that. I mean, we all got the Ravens winning, so a full clean sweep here. No surprise there, as we are Ravens fans here, and we cover the Ravens. So hopefully we do win. I am just going to give you guys one more request here. So before I let you guys go, you guys have been phenomenal. Thank you guys again so much for coming on the show. I want to get a bold prediction. From you guys. We'll go around the horn again. I'll go, let Alex go, and then Sam and Kevin, you can kind of respond to ours and give your own as well. So for me, I'm going to go, and before you guys join the show, I was talking to Alex about how I think a lot in this game, you're going to see Odafe Owe line up on the right side of the defensive line, if you're talking from Josh Allen's perspective, because Josh Allen loves to roll to the right, and that's where he's the most effective throwing the ball deep. So if you have a speedy edge rusher out there who can kind of close the distance and force him to the boundary a lot faster and force him to make a lot quicker of a decision than, say, maybe like a Kyle Van Noy on the other side, I think that would bode very well for our defense. Now, here's where the bold prediction comes in. I think that will happen. Maybe like a cornerback blitz or something off the left side, force Josh Allen out to the right. Odafe always chasing them right. And I'm just kind of painting the picture in my head, like live in real time right now, guys. So, bear with me here. And I think that Josh Allen kind of throws something up, trying to make something happen. I think Kyle Hamilton is right there to get an interception. So I know it's not too bold of a prediction, but give me a Kyle Hamilton interception. I don't know what that would be on DraftKings or FanDuel, whatever people use nowadays, right? Probably like a plus 700 or something, plus 800. I don't know. But give me a Kyle Hamilton interception in this one. Alex, what do you think?
Okay, I like that a lot. It's funny, my bold prediction is the other safety. I just saw Ardarius Washington on Richard Sherman's podcast talking about the whole weather and stuff. And I still think like this guy is not given his respect by NFL players. With that being said, give me Ardarius Washington forced fumble. I think somebody just underestimates his heart and his size, and he lays the wood, pops that ball out, forced fumble. So yeah, Ardarius Washington forced fumble, Ravens recovery.
Wow, that would feed families. I'm not gonna lie.
Let me see. I am trying to get really bold here. I'm going to go ahead and say Isaiah Likely 2 touchdowns. I think that this is a situations where I think when they get closer to the red zone, Sean McDermott's going to get nervous and really sell to stop the run that's going to give the tight ends opportunities. I think he'll roll coverage over to Mark Andrews' way because Andrews is the monster in the red zone, and I think Isaiah Likely may have a chance to feast. So give me Isaiah Likely 2 touchdowns.
Love it. Love that.
I didn't know if I was going to do this, but I think I'm going to do it. This is for the Tez Walker hype. I'm going Tez Walker anytime touchdown. I'm doing it. And I would love if Zabe would play. I personally don't think it's going to happen this week, and that's unfortunate for Baltimore. But obviously, that means other guys have to step up, and that could be for sure Isaiah Likely. I think Isaiah is actually going to have a big game. I agree. But who else is it going to be? Now, if the Ravens can run the ball well like they did against the Steelers, they probably aren't going to need a whole bunch of, Tez Walker in this game. But I expect it to be more of an offensive shootout. And so it's like, okay, who is going to step up? And you know what? I'm going mega bold, and I'm going to say Tez gets that touchdown.
A Tez Walker touchdown.
I like it.
Crazy.
I don't know what the odds are on that.
playoffs?
I actually make some money off that if it
I
happens.
like it.
Oh my gosh, man. I mean, I would be dumbfounded if Tez Walker somehow
So
came
would
up
I.
with a touchdown in this game. I mean, I would love it, I mean, turn me up, right? The rookie, but man, I love all those bold predictions. Likely 2 touchdowns is something that I think could really happen, to be honest with you. I think you have a good point there, Sam. They really might roll coverage to Mark Andrews' way to try to take him out of this game, shut him down. Even though I think that's going to be a little bit tougher as well, even in the red zone, because the Ravens have shown the want to run the football even in the red zone. We'll still take Derrick Henry and ram it through your defensive line, right? So I don't know. I just, if they do decide to put the ball in the air, I feel like on play action, Isaiah Likely eats, right? Especially in the red zone. I think that would be a big, benefit for this offense in the red zone. So I love that. I love what you're saying there. Love what both of you guys are saying, to be honest with you. So again, thank y'all so much for coming on to the show. This episode 293 of the Purple Rain podcast. We got Samuel NJOKU, and we've also got Kevin OSTREICHER as well. They have been phenomenal here, and we hope to have them on again in the future. We hope we can build like a little relationship where you guys can come on the podcast. We really love what you guys have to say. So any last words for this Ravens team before you guys head out? Kevin, I'll start with you, and then we'll go over to Sam.
Yeah, just, I feel like for a lot of people, you can't overlook any team, and Buffalo certainly is super talented. I've seen online people calling this the real AFC Championship because not a lot of people believe in Kansas City, but you got to give Kansas City their credit. I mean, they're back-to-back champs. Mahomes is a 3-time champ, and, it's really cool. I know a lot of people think, oh, just take the easiest team, and hopefully the Ravens can get Houston. I would love for them to go to Kansas City and kind of get that off of their back and say, hey, we went through it. Almost reminds me of 2012, Andrew Luck's Colts and Peyton Manning's Broncos and Tom Brady's Patriots all the way to the Super Bowl to play the 49ers. So I know a lot of people have seen the stat of Lamar turning 28 and Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco every 12 years for the Super Bowl. I know it all adds up. And I will say, if the Ravens do win the Super Bowl this year, I know everybody will be looking ahead 12 years from now and saying, you can just pencil that in, and they'll have some other 28-year-old quarterback that's about to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Sam?
I'm going to say the only team that could beat the Baltimore Ravens are the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, don't overlook your opponent, but the Ravens are a matchup nightmare for every team, even the Chiefs. There's some things that the Chiefs do that do concern me, but overall, the Ravens are the best team in the AFC. Let them go out there and show it. Enjoy the camaraderie that is fandom in Ravens flock, and enjoy what the Ravens are doing, because not a lot of teams get this opportunity. But yeah, Ravens are looking really good, and we'll see where they go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So again, I want to thank each one of you gentlemen for coming on the episode tonight and, giving us a phenomenal breakdown of what you think is going to happen in this game. Hopefully the Ravens do come out with a W. I'm hoping Sam is the most right out of all of us, because he's predicting more of a blowout, and he's also predicting Isaiah Likely 2 touchdowns. We know Isaiah Likely is my guy. I love him to death. He's such a great player. But again, I want to thank y'all. Kevin, appreciate you. This is your second time on the show. Hopefully, again, we can have you back on. That would be awesome in the future. Maybe sometime after, in the off season, we can talk. We'll talk.
Definitely.
But until then, we will catch you guys later in the next one. Again, thank y'all so much for coming through.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. See you later.
So to talk odds, actually, a Devontae Walker touchdown is plus 2,900, and Isaiah Likely touchdown is 2 touchdowns is plus 2,700. So
Ooh.
yeah, I did look it up. So right there, they're both kind of the same in value. But when you're talking about bold predictions, I think plus 3,000. Granted, I'm rounding up. It is pretty bold, I'd say. Now, while we're waiting for our next guest, I did pull up some touchdown score props, and this one caught my eye. Nelson Aguilar plus 1,000 anytime touchdown score. I think that is fantastic value. I really do.
Oh yeah.
Plus 1,000 anytime for Nelson Aguilar, who has shown that he'll score touchdowns in the most random games. Think about the games he scored in. They're pretty random. I mean, the Thursday night game against the Bengals. Like, did anybody expect him to score that game? I didn't. I'll tell you that right now. Last year, divisional game, scored the first touchdown in that. So that's not that crazy. Justice Hill plus 550. Are you kidding me? Plus 550 Justice Hill anytime.
Yeah, that's a steal. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
That's a
some
steal. Plus
that's some good
550.
value. Plus
Easy.
550. Yeah, and just going on Isaiah Likely plus 270, Lamar plus 190, Bateman plus 175, Andrews plus 165, Henry minus 210. Bateman plus 175. We fought through the trenches when he was like plus 1,000 to score. Now it's plus
Yeah.
175. We have fought the long, hard battle, Mr. Sutton. And now look at us. We're thriving.
We have. We've come a long way. We've come a long way, brother. We have. We do have 473 people watching live right now. Thank you all
Wowzers.
so much for joining this episode of the Purple Rain podcast.
Wow.
We are your hosts, Sutton Def and Simply AS10. We do go live every Monday and Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, just about. And also more content coming out as well. If you're watching on YouTube, hello, shout out to you. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. We greatly appreciate that. And if you're watching on X, hello, I know a lot of you guys are probably watching on X right now. That's probably one of our biggest platforms lately. Love you guys. Hello. Big shout out to y'all. But maybe pop over to YouTube whenever you get a chance and subscribe to the channel because, again, man, we're pumping out this content for you guys throughout the rest of the season and the off season. So make sure you stay locked in to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Before we get our next guest in here, let me bring up a couple of comments, see what you guys are saying down here in the live chat. We see Justin Lewis in the house. What's going on? Justin says, I hope Houston will get it done versus the Chiefs. We will have the AFC Championship game back home at the bank next Sunday. You know, I've been thinking about that. Like, if the Texans upset the Chiefs, I don't know how they would do that. I mean, it's just, you know, it seems very far-fetched, right? But if that were to happen and we get another AFC Championship game, if we beat the Bills, right, at the bank, how awesome would that be? And would you go, hypothetically speaking again?
I'm looking forward to Sunday. I'm not. You're not getting me. You're not.
You sound like
Sutton,
Lamar Jackson.
Sutton. You know the heartbreak I've been through with sports. I saw my soccer team lose on the final day. I am not getting my hopes up for anything. I saw the Ravens lose. I'm not doing it. I saw back-to-back years finish second in soccer. I'm not doing this, son. Not Orioles first round exit. Orioles haven't won a freaking playoff game since I was like just in high school. I'm not doing this. We're not looking ahead. I'm looking forward to Sunday. Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
Depending the price.
Okay. Depending the price. Okay. All right. So let me see what else you guys are saying in here. Black Daniels in the house. What's going on, Black Daniels? Appreciate you for pulling up, coming through. Always joining, always supporting. We thank you, man. We thank you. Mod Black Daniels, that is to you.
To you.
He says, big game bait. Yeah, I mean, listen, man. It's looking like no Zay Flowers for the second week in a row. It really sucks that this is the extent of Zay Flowers' I word. By the way, if you guys are just joining and this is your first time listening to PRP, we don't like to say the I word actually in full here. It's a little superstitious thing, right? We just say a guy got hurt or we just say I word, right? So Zay Flowers, he's out for this one seemingly because he hasn't practiced all week. I don't foresee him coming back tomorrow practicing and then doing a walkthrough on Saturday or whatever and then playing in the game on Sunday. I just don't see that happening. So you can kind of book it that Zay Flowers won't be playing. So Bateman, Rashad Bateman, you mentioned Nelson Aguilar, who I think is probably a steal for at least, I'd say 2 catches in this one. At least 2 catches. Dare I say 3? Maybe that one's a touchdown. Who knows? I think that's a sneaky one right there. But Rashad Bateman is a guy that I'm looking at. And when you look at the matchups for Rashad Bateman in this one and who he could potentially be, you know, facing, it's going to be a lot of Roswell Douglas and a lot of Christian Benford, right? And the main reason he's going to get a lot of Christian Benford, who is, I think, the 8th ranked cornerback, according to PFF, he is going to get his assignment a lot. You know, he's going to get a lot of reps against Benford. He's going to get some against Roswell Douglas as well, since Zay Flowers is out. So he's got to really beat man coverage. That's going to be my biggest thing. He's got to beat man coverage. I do think the Bills will play a little bit more zone. Of course, not a lot of teams like playing man coverage against a Lamar Jackson team because, of course, you turn your back on Lamar Jackson, he can just take off on you. Even though, as of late, you know what I'm saying? Like, he has shown a lot more reluctance to taking off. He's evolved into that quarterback who extends plays to pass the ball down the field, not necessarily to run. So I don't know if defenses will try to use that against him in the way of playing more man coverage, and we'll see what the Bills do. Because again, like Sam said, they're gonna have to do some different things on defense than they normally do, and they're gonna have to show us the willingness to change, especially considering they don't really have the personnel to really shut down this Ravens run game, and you know, in the way that some other teams might. Like I mentioned earlier, like the Eagles and teams like that with very, very strong defensive lines. So again, what is your assessment on Rashad Bateman? What does he need to do to perform in this one? And Do you think that he scores a touchdown in this one? Because the Ravens are 9-0 when Bateman scores
Yeah,
a
I
touchdown.
see Don said that. I mean, that's crazy. It's unbelievable. What does he need to do? I thought, last game, 2 catches, like 12 yards, a touchdown, and a crucial third down conversion on the 2-minute drill and the end of the first half. 3 catches, something like that, a touchdown. Like as long as your chain movers and like the catches count, that's all I'm caring about. I don't need somebody to go for 100 because I don't think that's going to be the type of game it is. If anything, you keep it on the ground. That's the type of game I want to be, is keeping it on the ground. As for I think he's ready for whenever. I like him against almost any corner route running, but I hope it doesn't get to that point where we have to start using him because his best games have come. It's been shootouts. That Bengals game, he balled out shootout. Thankfully, the Giants game was a blowout, but even then, I'd rather it not be like that. So,
All right. Let's go ahead and bring up our third guest of the episode. Yes. I think
Thumbs
we
up
are
if you're
ready.
ready.
I'm going to bring him up on screen.
All right, he's ready. All right, cool.
He's ready. All right, cool. All right, we're going to bring him up on screen. A lot of you guys I know who this guy is, especially if you're watching right now on X. This is a guy who's actually been on our show before. It's been a little while, though. It's been a little while. He describes himself as a very chill guy, and I love that. I love that description.
3 years. Last time we talked, I believe, was before the Vikings game in the dreaded 2021 season. I believe that was it. I got a weird memory. I think that's when it was. A lot has changed since then. I'll do the intro. You've probably seen the good tweets, the good WWE edits. Those are the best ones, in my opinion, when you get the little reactions. Well, to me, a very positive fan. Whenever we lose, I'm going to his page to give me some hope. The one, the only, Mr. Hoodie Ramey.
Hey, what's going on, bro?
What's up, fellas?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Appreciate you for coming through.
3 years.
Yeah, it's been
3 years. Wow. I didn't remember that.
I didn't even me neither. I didn't realize it had been that long. So we got to make this more of a frequent thing. So thank you again, Ramey, for coming on. So far, we have been giving our keys to victory, our score predictions, and our bold predictions for this Ravens versus Bills game. So Ramey, you are the newest guest on the show, and again, apologize if you hear my dog in the background.
That's all right.
But listen, okay, so go ahead and give us your biggest keys to victory, like top 2 keys to victory for the Ravens to punch their ticket to the AFC Championship game.
Number 1, just like week 4, I mean, I don't think it was a key to victory, but it just happened that way. It was starting hot. I mean, what was it, like an 80-yard touchdown run or maybe 90? I forget what it was.
87.
But 87. I mean, you can't start much hotter than that. So, I mean, I don't think you're going to be able to maybe replicate that. I don't really think you expect to do exactly that. But, I mean, if we come out and Derrick Henry breaks off even like a 15-yarder, just out of the gate, you're like, okay. I mean, they better call the National Guard because, this is it's going to be one of those games. So, establish the run, start hot. And then as far as defense, I think I saw Ed Oliver say today about Lamar, and it was kind of like Lamar's going to get his, and it's kind of the same on the other end. Josh Allen's going to get his, whether it's, through his own skill or just the rest, just that type of deal. But the point is, just make him work for it. Just make him work for it a little bit. Put a little pain on, make it hard, make him work for it, and then. So yeah, those 3 things.
Love that. Alex, what do you got?
I'm right there with you. I mean, if you can start off early, like you said, the Derrick Henry. I think you were at the game too on Saturday, but when he broke off that the one run with the in the Wildcat, to me, I'm like, all right, it's that game. It's you're not gonna stop him. We're pulling out the Volt, which is Lamar lined up at receiver. Derrick Henry Wildcat, we didn't see it, I think, since week 2 of last time he was in the Wildcat. It's this type of game. I think that's why I was pretty confident about it too, because they couldn't stop him in week 16. Couldn't stop him this game. Now for this, if you can start off early, like you said, 15-yard run, good luck, because you had all week to train for it, to get prepared for it, and you still can't stop it. So it'll be a long day if that happens.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, starting fast is going to be just imperative for this Ravens team, just to kind of because the Ravens, their game plan is normally they want to lean on teams, right? They want to lean on teams. They want to get a lead and lean on with the run game. So yeah, start fast. I think we'll see some play action early just to kind of keep the Bills defense honest. Because of course, like I said earlier in the show, the Bills, they're going to have to manufacture ways, literally come up with it. How are we going to stop Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson simultaneously? It's just not. It's not an easy thing to do. So I love those keys to victory from you, Ramey. Before we go any further, we do have another guest here that I want to bring up here so we can get our quad box back going again. This is a guy who really needs no introduction, right? This guy is from Team Keep It Clean, right? The king of Ravens YouTube himself. This is Engraven Videos.
See, I got to stop you right there because you told two lies in one sentence, and I can't let you do that. First, we do need an introduction. We always need an introduction. And the King of Ravens YouTube, that's probably the most blatant lie you ever told in your life, son. But I appreciate you and Simply, and shout out to Ramey too. What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Good seeing y'all as always, man. How is everything? I mean, I ain't even gonna ask you how everything is because we Ravens fans. So everything is good right now. Everything is great.
We're here.
Everything, man. Everything is great. You know, right back here in the divisional round, you know, a year ago at this time, we were getting ready to gear up to face the Texans. And then after that, we went to the AFC Championship game and dropped it to the Chiefs. So we're just one game away from getting back to where we were last season. And I know that we're all kind of sensing the moment right here. The vibes are very high with this team. The vibes are very high with this stream right now. You know, and thank you guys so much. We got over 600 people watching live right now. Thank y'all so much for coming through to this episode of PRP. So, Engraven, our guy Ramey, he just gave his keys to victory. He wants the Ravens to really start fast in this one. That's going to be a big thing for him. Engraven, I want you to let us know what you've been mulling over and thinking about for the past couple of days, ever since you found out that we were going to face the Buffalo Bills in this divisional round. What are the biggest keys to victory for the Ravens to walk out with a W?
Yeah, Ramey talking about starting fast, that's super important, especially against a team like the Buffalo Bills because they a quick strike team too. Against the Steelers, they a team that you could afford not to start so fast because they are not a fast-paced offense. They're not a quick, fast, in a hurry type of team. They move at a slow pace like the Ravens can sometimes and have sometimes, but with the Bills, you can't afford to do that. You can't mess around and be taking forever to score points. You can't be messing around and just kicking nothing but field goals. No, you need touchdowns and you need them quick, fast, in a hurry. The way that and obviously that game went pretty much perfect, but the way that they started against the Bills in week 4, that is the most beautiful way to start a game ever. Literally the first play of the game, Derrick Henry like an 83, 84-yard touchdown run. And can we expect that in this game? I don't know, maybe. But just to continue to put up points over and over and over. Last game, the Bills, they were bad in that game, and Ravens were really good. And even though we had like such a terrible defense, which is crazy, it's the fact that we played the Bills when our defense was just all kinds of bad, and they still only put up 10 points. So now our defense has gotten better. Now their team has gotten better as well. So both sides have gotten better for sure. But it's important that with Josh Allen, you can't let the downfield passes get going. And Ravens have been doing a really, really good job of stopping that, of bringing that to a complete halt. But with Josh Allen, too, another big thing with him, and I know Ramey was just talking about he's going to get his one way or another, it's very, very important that, because we've seen it happen too many times when Josh Allen, when he snaps the ball and the pass rushers, they going after him and they'll get to him and he might still have the ball in his hands, but they might wrap up his body, but they don't wrap up his arms and he'll still get a pass off. You can't let that happen because Josh Allen is like a fullback playing the quarterback position because he's just so big. You got to bring him down. You got to grab his arms too so he cannot extend the play even more than he already extends it.
Yeah, you definitely got to get hold of this guy and bring him down, wrap him up and tackle because like you said, he's got such a big frame. He can always get a throw off pretty much unless he's on the ground, right? So, Ramey, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I agree. They make it's him and Mahomes, man. It kind of what Engraven's saying. It kind of takes me back a little bit. Just we lost that game off of exactly what Engraven just said against Mahomes, particularly like those crazy plays. Like we're all thinking of them right now. I think it's about probably 3 plays, but they were huge, like 4th downs, conversions, all those. So you just can't let this happen. I mean, I guess there's not much you can do to stop it. It's more so I'd say a luck thing, but like you got to do everything in your power, man. Everything.
Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, I'm thinking now, like, which of our guys can take him one-on-one and bring him down by himself? You know, that like, I hate to say that. I think Madubuike can. I have no doubt in my mind. Travis Jones, I mean, Michael Pierce if he can get there, but I need Owe to wrap him up and somebody else to finish it off.
Oh,
I mean, it's hard to think about who can take him down by himself. Kind of a scary thought, you know, but it's just all about closing that the line on them. Sorry, Cameron Hines with the $2. I'm late, but I just kind of saw Engraven hashtag no replay. Shout out to you, Cameron. I saw somebody say you're the best setup on YouTube, and you really do. Look at that, crispy clean. You got the stats behind you. I mean, who needs Google? That's right there.
Oh, I didn't
I
even
still need it,
see
even
that.
with the stats behind me.
Don't get that.
No, I love that. I love that. Is that the wait, man? They had the Ravens -1, man. There's the live odds, but like the live spread is on there, bro. It doesn't get any better than that. It does not.
This
get any better
guy.
Are you kidding me? It's insane.
There's no one better.
Shout out to Engraven. Nobody better in the business. And I don't care what he says. I know he's Mr. Humble, but this is a guy, again, and just like a quick little tidbit, this is a guy who got me into Ravens YouTubing. So, again, all shouts out to Engraven, man. And shout out to Cameron
Shout out
Hines
to y'all
as well.
for jumping into it, though.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, y'all made that leap, and it's worked out big time, man. So I'm glad.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And again, shout out to Cameron Hines for the super chat donation. We do appreciate you.
I think you muted your mic, Sutton. You were so excited you muted your mic.
Oh, I muted my mic.
All good.
My bad.
It's okay.
So look, so here's the thing. We already talked about our keys to victory. Let's get into our score predictions for this one, right? We're going to do score predictions, then we're going to do bold predictions. So score predictions first. Me and Alex already gave ours on stream. So, Ramey, we're going to start with you, and then we're going to go over to Engraven.
All right, I hope I can come back to this at about like 9 o'clock on Sunday, and it's like dead accurate, and I'll repost it. But I'm gonna go with 27-24 Ravens.
Okay.
And I'll let you guys piece together the 27, but that's gonna be my bold prediction as well.
Okay. Got you.
All right. I had to go to a text message that I sent my guy a couple of days ago to make sure I get the numbers the exact same that I put the other day. I said Ravens 28, Bills 24. So I think it's going to be a close one. Now, for me, unlike Ravens, I want to be wrong. I want to be completely wrong, and I want the Ravens to just dominate from start to finish. I don't even want it to be close. But as long as Ravens win, hey, I'm cool with whatever.
I said the same thing. 28-24. Ravens defense stopped them on the final drive to really kind of solidify that this is a Ravens defense you don't want to mess with.
Oh boy.
Yeah, game on the line. They stop them.
You're making me stressed out already.
You're telling me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's comfortable. I hope it's like 35-21. I really do, but I can't underestimate these boys at Orchard Park. I
Exactly.
And see, I think that, like a game sealing turnover could be in play here. I mentioned just like 20 minutes ago on stream, my bold prediction is going to be Kyle Hamilton to get a pick. And I think it comes from Josh Allen getting flushed out of the pocket to his right, where he feels most comfortable running over there and throwing down the field. Adafe Owe in hot pursuit, and you know how fast Adafe Owe is. And right at the last minute, Josh Allen's quarterback clock is going to be sped up because he's got Owe coming to him. He's going to throw it up. And I think Kyle Hamilton's going to be in the general vicinity, and he's going to come down with it and really seal the deal. And that'll be kind of like the icing on top and the redemption for Kyle Hamilton dropping that pick against Cleveland earlier in the season that could have won us the game, So I think Kyle Hamilton, that's going to be my bold prediction again. I'll say it again, Kyle Hamilton interception, but I'll add on to it to also end the game. Ravens 35-31 was my score prediction, just so you guys know. But Engraven, do you have any bold predictions for this game? Something that you just think that, I really feel like it's not likely to happen, but I have a gut feeling. What's your bold prediction?
Derrick Henry, 180 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And I know, actually, for some people, that don't even sound that bold.
Yeah.
Because Derrick Henry just been killing it all year. But I'm going to say 180 yards and 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry.
Okay. Love that. Yeah. Okay, so
I was saying
go ahead.
The magic number is 90. Obviously, if he gets under 90, I unfortunately think we take the out. Over 90, I think it's the W is right there in play. But 180 and 2 touchdowns, if you lose with that, I mean, somebody help you. I mean, you got to win with 180 rushing yards from one player.
Okay.
Yeah. So one last thing, again, I got my dog in here. He's barking
it's all right.
loud and whatnot. I just want to let you guys. What?
He or she doesn't like Josh Allen either, so it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's just pumped for the game.
You've been spreading that propaganda, haven't you, to your dog about the MVP debate? I know you. I know what you've been doing.
I have.
You're not full of
I'm not gonna lie. Oh, he's laying back down now. All right.
There you go.
So here's one more thing. I want to ask you guys before I let you guys go. Again, thank you guys so much for coming on. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal, per usual,
Thank you.
on here on the PRP podcast. So I asked Kevin OSTREICHER and Samuel NJOKU the same thing. to get a different perspective on what the Ravens, need to do to win this game, what would you say is the biggest key to victory for the Buffalo Bills to beat the Ravens in this one? Because you just flip it, right? I think it gives us another perspective. Ramey, I want to start with you, and then I'll toss it over to Engraven.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback off of what Alex said, like just a couple seconds ago, about like the magic number for Derrick Henry, and it's getting him to like that 80 yards. But even then, it's like, I mean, that's Derrick Henry going for 80, and then probably Lamar going for at least 30, and then maybe Justice getting there as well. So that's 100 yards of rushing. So like, it's going to be a challenge. Like, I mean, the Ravens. I mean, I was making this point to my friends a couple days ago. We've been this team before trying to figure out what are we going to do to stop this guy. And like, so we played him at 19. Obviously he did, 100 and whatever.
Yes.
And then we play him again that following year and he goes for 100 again, like 100 plus again. We had to like hold him to, in the playoffs, the win to 40. And that was still close. So like, they're gonna really have to like shut us down, and I don't really know. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't really know what their key is. Like I understand they're getting their 3 guys back, but like he just ran for 199 on you 3 months ago. I understand it doesn't mean anything, but like I just feel, and again I could be wrong, but sometimes a team just doesn't have the personnel to stop a guy. So like my prediction really is, I don't think they can. And I think maybe this offseason, they might be investing $20 million into a true nose tackle. Like, really? Because, like, I mean, the Ravens, we had to do the same thing. We had to go get Derek Wolfe, Calais Campbell, and they didn't waste time. Like, I'm pretty sure it was it morning after the Pro Bowl? We got Calais? Like, I mean, it was quick. Like, they didn't hesitate. So that's kind of where I lie.
Yeah, those are some good points. I would say for them on offense, to attack Brandon Stevens and attack him early, often, and really all throughout the game. It's been a conversation all year amongst Ravens fans. What's happening with Brandon Stevens? Are the Ravens ever going to bench Brandon Stevens? And I told people, like, look, if they hadn't done it at a certain point in the regular season, they're not going to do it in the playoffs. So Brandon Stevens is going to be out there. And I know he's a big worry for a lot of us as Ravens fans. Like, man, like, how is this still happening? It's been all year. So hopefully, hey, this is the game where he turns it around, but we'll see. But I think a big key would be them attacking him on offense, but on defense, be forcing turnovers, really. Because that's something that the Ravens have done a really, really, really good job at. I saw a stat today that I had no clue about until today. Said that with Lamar Jackson in away games this season, he's thrown 23 touchdowns and only 1 interception. And then I was trying to think, man, what was that interception? I said, it was the Steelers one, the Justice Hill interception, where he went to I thought he was down, but there's an interception. It is what it is. So it will be for them to force turnovers. That's how the Bills will be able to win this game. Multiple turnovers, though. One wouldn't do it, in my opinion. It would have to be at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, agreed there. I mean, because, you look at this Ravens team and what they like to do. They like to possess the ball and really lean on you, like I was saying a few minutes ago. So the more possessions that you can kind of steal away from them, the more food that you can kind of steal off their plate, I like to say, the better for them, So I totally agree there. I mean, you mentioned Brandon Stevens as well. I think that Brandon Stevens I kind of feel for him, and Harbaugh talked about this a little while ago. He said that, when a guy is struggling like a DB, they're going to purposely go after him. So there's literally more opportunities for you to get cooked, like simple as that. So I think you're going to see on like a lot of third downs, maybe even like second and longs, things like that. If we get the Bills behind the sticks, you're going to see Josh Allen looking over to whatever side Brandon Stevens is on, that right cornerback side, actually. And if he's one-on-one with no safety help over the top, or maybe it's just like a single high safety, they're going to give whoever that is a shot, whether that be Keon Coleman, whether that be, Matt Collins, whoever it is, they're going to give him a shot over the top. So I just think that Brandon Stevens has got to play with a lot of pride. And, I've watched a lot of Brandon Stevens tape in the past couple of weeks just to kind of refamiliarize myself with his game and really what's going wrong with him. And as we all know, it's just the ball skills, man. He blankets guys. He quite literally blankets guys. But, like, the ball gets there and, like, he is not in a position at all to make a play on the ball because he doesn't know where it's coming from or when it's coming, and that's just the most frustrating thing to see. But anybody else got any thoughts on Brandon Stevens and what's going on there?
I see Jabari says bold prediction BC with interception.
Oh.
Jabari, if you do that, I don't know
Jabari.
where you are. I don't know where you live. I'm bowing down to you. I mean, that right there is like the boldest of bold prediction. I would love for it to happen because it's just
Jabari
everything.
better get on FanDuel right now and walk away a millionaire this weekend. I'll say that.
Sprinkle on that. Sprinkle a
Oh,
little
I'm
something on
telling you.
Yeah, yeah. So shout out to Jabari for the super chat donation. Ramey, you had something for us?
Yeah, I want to say one thing, and this is kind of my bold prediction. I don't know how bold you guys consider this, but I think so. All this year, Justin Tucker, it's been very, very loud in a very, very negative way. And
Ooh.
in these last couple weeks, it's gotten very, I mean, at least to me, been very quiet. Like smooth sound. Like I haven't really even heard his name, to be honest with you, which is, I mean, been kind of rare, especially for this season. I think this game is huge for him, especially because the last time he was there, I mean, it wasn't much his fault really because it was like 45-mile-an-hour winds. It felt like, but he missed two, and I think this week or weekend he's gonna walk us off and take us home.
Oh boy.
I think that's what I think.
You did say 27-24, so
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's what it is.
Ooh,
I mean,
that
I
would
don't
be
know if you guys have read these little tidbits, but he's hitting them from 50, 55. They're inside. He's outdoors hitting them.
It's gonna be a crazy game. That
that's
would
where I'm at.
be crazy. That would be a nice redemption for him too. Just with how this season has been, like you said, because like we all know, it was rough, man. We were having some conversations about Justin Tucker, man, and it got ugly. But boy, woo, that'd be nice. That'd be
Full
nice.
circle.
I just this game,
Full
man.
circle.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a real crazy one, man. So
I see what you're doing. Rookie year divisional round. I see what you're doing.
I'm
Walk-off.
a narrative guy, brother.
I
I'm a
love
narrative guy.
Goodell needs to call you up for the storyline.
I'm
I
a
like
narrative
that.
guy.
I like it. Divisional round, Tucker walk-off rookie. The year he faces the most adversity, walk-off in divisional round.
What a redemption arc that would be. Oh my goodness. I can't even
I see.
imagine the nerves that I would have Justin Tucker trotting onto the field for a game-winning field goal that's like 50 plus. Like in Buffalo, crowds rocking, winds blowing. I don't know if it's going to be snowing or not, but that would be insane. And then for him to hit it, of course, man, that would just be again the greatest redemption arc for a kicker that I've probably ever seen in a single season, at least, But yeah, I love that. I love that, Ramey. But let me see. I have another super chat donation. This one's coming from Maddie. Boom. What's going on, Maddie? Says, I clicked on the live, but was not expecting to see the Ravens Mount Rushmore. Let's go, fellas. What's going on, Maddie? Appreciate you for the super chat donation. We appreciate that. But all humble up here. All humble up here. We're just Ravens fans, fanalists, as I like to call us, But this is something that we love to do. So shout out to you, Maddie. We appreciate you for your super chat donation and always supporting, man. Really do appreciate that. Okay. So again, fellas, my guy Ramey, my guy Engraven, you guys have been absolutely awesome tonight. I want to give a round of applause to you guys. Chat, put some W's in the chat for these two guys, these two goats, right? These two goats. We appreciate them. Any last things you want to say to this Ravens team, about this Ravens team? Anything you've been wanting to get off your chest before you go? Ramey, I'll start with you, then we'll head over to Engraven. And then, yeah.
I'm going to keep it real simple. Don't turn the ball over and just win, baby. Just win. Just win. Please.
Love it. Love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ramey, man. To follow that up, I would just say play your game. Earlier this season, there will be times when, even from Lamar Jackson, but from the Baltimore Ravens, really as a whole, more so on offense, they would not play their game. But ever since Lamar mom cussed them out, and she decided, you know what, I ain't gonna team keep it clean this thing. I'm gonna go rough with it. But Lamar just been going crazy ever since. And we even, looking at that playoff game from last week, first drive of the game, there was no hesitation whatsoever from Lamar Jackson, and then we saw it throughout. Like, if he was going to run, he would drop back, look, okay, nope, I'm taking off, I'm out of here. And he would do it just like that. So keep playing with that sense of urgency and keep playing without hesitation, and Ravens will be just fine.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. Again, my dog is trying to send you guys off here. So shout out to you guys again. for coming through to this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Hopefully we can have you guys back on sometime in the near future, maybe after the Super Bowl, potentially, maybe in the off season. We'll see. We'll hash it out with you two. So again, thank y'all for coming through, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All
Thank
right.
you for having us.
Peace out, man. All right.
I mean, it doesn't
All right.
get much more iconic than that. That's called some good ball talk. That's a couple of fans at the end of the bar right there. Don't know
Yeah.
what your drink of choice is. Yeah, but that is, and before we go, I do want to bring up something I saw online. I saw that I think it was like with 3 minutes left in the third quarter, Bills were up 13-7. Their offense took a little bit to get active, and thank you, Blair, for that. I'll just get that real quick. But
Yeah.
if the Ravens can really just, we're a much more talented team than the Broncos. No disrespect whatsoever. They'll be in the playoffs again next year. I have no doubt. Bo Nix had a fantastic rookie year. With that being said, though, we saw what we did to them at home. It wasn't even close. This Ravens team needs to keep that foot on the gas, because if the Bills do have another slow start, which they very well could, I can see Sam's prediction being true. Where it's not a game, maybe it's 31-14 and they get a garbage time touchdown. But if you can keep that foot on the throat, I would love that. Now, one more thing as well. We knew in 2019, I hate to say this, but we knew what Derrick Henry was. We probably all week, how are you going to stop this guy? We just saw him beat the GOAT Tom Brady in Foxborough in his final game ever as a Patriot. And we game planned, and we stopped him a couple of plays. They didn't stop going to him. And he ran all over us. Had them up in the AFC Championship, and they weren't as talented as the Chiefs. It's neither here nor there. But stick to the game plan. And mimicking what they said, stick to who you are. This is why you spent the money on them. This is why you stayed them for this. So with that being said, we have Blair saying, do you think Josh Allen will hold up under pressure, or do you guys think he will struggle once he's hit, especially since the refs seem quick to call penalties against us? Anthony Brown mimicking Lamar is crazy work. We talked about it. Yeah, it's going to be hard to take him down by himself. And if you do, you got to be smart, because they will throw that laundry on the field. We've seen it before. Might have been in 2020. How we can get him down, I'm not too sure. Got teamwork, 11 guys to the ball, but this defense has been playing as a team. 11 men run to that ball no matter what, no matter who's in the field, no matter what personnel, no matter if you're second or third, first string. I love that. As for Anthony Brown mimicking Lamar, yeah. I think in 2020, friggin' Dennis Dixon, we brought him in to mimic Colin Kaepernick. So teams do this. I mean, to be a scout team quarterback, he's not the same, but it's just the mobile stuff, the mobileness, and just the options, stuff like that. Take it away. I was rambling there for a bit.
Oh no, you're good, bro. You're good. Love to hear everything you're saying. I mean, you're absolutely right about this. I mean, we got to get this guy on the ground. We got to get him hit. To be honest with you, I was watching a video on Twitter earlier today from Brian Baldinger. Love the breakdowns he puts on Twitter, and he was talking about how the Ravens in the Week 4 matchup, they did basically like a cage rush on Josh Allen. Basically where like your nose tackles and your interior D linemen, they just bull rush, right? They bull rush just to like put the pocket in the quarterback's lap, which is something that Tom Brady even said himself, the GOAT quarterback, and you just brought him up. Tom Brady said, like, there's nothing worse than pressure right in front of you in your lap, right? I mean, you can deal with pressure coming from the left or the right because you can kind of move around, manipulate the pocket, and still throw the football. But if the pocket is collapsing right in front of you, and like you've got these big 300-pound men literally just backing up into you, it makes it a whole lot harder to keep your eyes down the field and throw the ball down the field. Now, Josh Allen is a little bit taller than your average quarterback, so I think that's something that really benefits him as well, because he can still kind of see over his offensive line, even if they do get kind of close up to him without having to scramble out left or right. But I really have a lot of faith, Blair, in guys like Travis Jones and guys like Nnamdi Madubuike. I think Nnamdi Madubuike is going to be an absolute force in this game. And it's the same thing with Travis Jones, to be honest with you. Alex, I wanted to show you something as well so I can get your perspective on it. I'll share my screen here in just a second. And then I actually have to ask you about one last thing, too, because Todd Monken might be on the move. So that's another thing. Make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll talk about that. But let me see. Anthony Brown mimicking Lamar is crazy work. Yeah, so they brought in Anthony Brown the other day, and I guess it's just to, I don't know if it's necessarily to mimic Lamar. I mean, because his speed really just doesn't match up with Lamar Jackson at all. Like, I think me and you went to a preseason game a couple of years ago where Anthony Brown was playing. Yeah, Ravens versus Commanders, and we saw Anthony Brown play live. What's your assessment on the whole Anthony Brown thing?
I mean, like I said, it's just to be the scout guy. He's been with us. He knows, maybe how Lamar can pull it, what he may do. But it's obviously, gaining a little bit of an edge, even if it's 0.1%. I mean, it helps them out. I'm not putting too much stock into it. I saw Jeff Strubeck say Devin Leary will be our scout. Josh Allen. Who freaking knows? But if it works, you look like a genius. That's all I got. We aren't there. We don't know what's going on.
Right about that. Right about that. I don't think it's really gonna work, to be honest with you. Just putting that out there, but whatever floats their boat, right? We do have another super chat donation. This one's coming from the GOAT. What's going on? Ingraven was
This
just
guy,
in
man.
here chopping it up with us. This guy, man, pulling up from the parking lot, man. I mean, I know the game is gonna be played at Highmark in Buffalo, but he's pulling up from the bank. He's pulling up
He's
all
pulled
the way
up from the statues outside Gate D is where he pulled up from. If you know, since they moved him. Yeah, that's where he pulled up from.
This man Alex is so familiar with the M&T Bank Stadium. I love it because he goes to so many Ravens games, and guess what? He's still undefeated. He won't be in Buffalo this week, but
I'm sorry. I tried. I wanted to, but it just didn't fit the plan. So, I'll be there in spirit. I'll be there in spirit.
You'll be there in spirit, and hopefully we can keep this season alive. But thank you so much, Ingraven. We appreciate you for everything that you've done for us,
Thank
for
you,
the
man.
Ravens community. Can't say thank you enough, and keep doing what you're doing because you really do inspire all of us. And thank you from the dog here who's been giving me so many problems this episode. So say hi. Hey, say hi. Okay. But yeah, thank you again, man. We do have another super chat donation. This one's coming from, let me see, John Ramey. It's our guy Ramey. Ramey in the house. Sending the doney, man. We appreciate you, man, for coming through as well. I mean, another one of the GOATs in the Ravens community. Man, there's been so much love in the stream tonight, man. Ingraven, Ramey, Kevin, Sam. Big shout out to all of our guests for tonight's episode. It's been absolutely phenomenal. We still have over 750 people watching live right now.
I'm nervous, man. 700. Think about that. That's a
700,
whole
right?
auditorium. Think about it. When you really put it in perspective, it's like imagine walking up in front of there and just talking. And it's like it's crazy. But yeah, thank you each one of you spending your Thursday night with us. You could be doing a lot of other things, but you're spending here with us, talking some ball. I just can't say thank you enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, shout out to you, Ramey. Shout out to you, Ingraven, for the donations. Yeah. We do appreciate it. Okay. So, one other thing, I said I wanted to show you something, right? Mod Rouge in the house. What's going on, Rouge? Says generational.
My dog Rouge.
Absolutely right about that. Yeah.
My dog Rouge, man. You are a generational mod. We appreciate you. Shout out to our mods real quick because there's been no trolling this whole year. There have been no trolls at all. And that is huge. I got to be honest with you because we would get them a lot. So shout out to the mods. We really appreciate every single one of you doing it's a job. I mean, honestly, keeping them out and it keeps the stream flowing at a great place. So thank you to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you so much, Mod Rouge, for me as well. Let me see. Got to give a shout out to Tanja Bowman. Tanja Bowman in the house. What's going on, Tanja? Appreciate you for coming through, as always. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you this, Alex. So I was online earlier, and I was curious because I was looking at some matchups, right? Mm-hmm. Just kind of predicting some matchups here, and as we can kind of see the lineups further too. So Bills on offense here, Ravens on defense, and shout out to PFF because they actually do offer this tool. So this is actually the Bills in their 11 personnel. They got 3 wide receivers on the field, which I feel like we'll see a lot with this Bills team. And then you've got the Ravens in the nickel right here. I'm looking at the interior D line, right, against that interior O line. Matabike, right, number 92, he has a 68.5 overall rating as a interior D lineman this season. Travis Jones right next to him has a 70.6 rating as an interior D lineman this season. That's respective 18th for Travis Jones out of 125 and 29th out of 125 for Matabike. And if you flip it to the offensive line for the Bills here, they've got some guys who can possibly be had, right? Matabike has been demanding double teams pretty much all season long. I think that he might be able to eat up the center and the right guard while Travis Jones goes one-on-one with Edwards here, the left guard. And if that happens enough times, and Travis Jones can because Travis Jones, he can take on a double team himself, all by himself. He's one of the strongest guys on this team. But if that happens, I think that whole cage rush technique that I was telling you about earlier, where you have your interior D lineman just kind of bull rush and back the pocket up into the quarterback's lap, I think we could see that a lot in this one. And I think we could see Josh Allen under a lot of duress. But what do you think about that, Alex? And what else are you seeing?
Yeah, and I didn't know that Travis Jones was great to hire than Matabike, which is kind of interesting to me. But yeah, I do agree with you there. I think I was watching Jason from Huddle Up film. They were actually mentioning Brown, the right tackle, attacking him, which kind of surprised me because I really don't hear his name too much, but it's usually a good thing for linemen. But I'm right there with you. Like when you bring up the double teams as well. Like this is why I think a guy like Van Noy as well has to have a big day. Or oh wait, make these guys uncomfortable. I know we had 4 sacks. Um, Russell Wilson isn't the most mobile guy. He is more mobile than your normal average Joe, but Josh Allen's a different breed, different animal. So I want to get to him, get hands on him, make him uncomfortable. And I forget who said it, but he does try to play hero ball. When he gets behind, he will make those plays or make those errant plays or errant throws. And we saw it in week 4. It's a whole different season to me. That game to me doesn't matter. But I saw when he went down, that trick play they ran, instead of just throwing that ball away, forcing it, turns into a forced fumble. We get the ball back in a fantastic spot of the field. Stuff like that. Make him uncomfortable, and who knows what can happen. Also, Kincaid, they target him, I think, 3 or 4 times in the first couple of drives. Maybe even the first drive we played them in week 4. Who's going to be our guy
Yeah.
to match up with him and shut down their tight ends? Because he can have himself a good game. So they have guys all around the field that may not be the big names, but when they get going, they get going. So like I said, I'm not going to make this game a pushover at all. Play our game, and if that line can eat, it can be a long day. Like we saw, if the line gets beat, it's a long day for even the best of players and best of teams.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right about that, and just seeing like how it would look if they went out and had a what is it, 12 personnel instead, and 2 tight ends on the field with Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid here. I would, and then if the Ravens switch to their base defense or something like that for a play like this, that would be very, very interesting to me to see how they deal with these 2 tight end sets. The Ravens, that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be very. Oh man, I cannot wait for this. The matchups on this one are just like they're so juicy. Like they all have something. They all have a little story behind them and little tidbits of information and fun facts that you can kind of like pull off of. Like I said, looking at these grades here, the interior D line for the Ravens, I think, has a good advantage over the offensive line for the Buffalo Bills here. So one last thing I wanted to show before we move on to our last topic. If you just kind of flip it, right? Just kind of flip it, and put the Bills on defense, and say
Mm-hmm.
the Bills are in nickel, right? And we put the Ravens in their big 2 tight end set, which they love to run the most. This would be another interesting concept for me on
Mm-hmm.
offense. You see this, just that wall right up here. Can I interest you? Can I interest you in a Daniel Falele legacy game in this one? I
I'm
know it might
interested.
be far fetched, Alex. Are you interested?
No, it's
Okay,
not.
so let's
No,
make.
it's not. He had a good game last week. My hands
Yeah,
up.
he did.
You can't see. My
He
hands are up
did.
right now.
You did. But like I'm looking at the matchup here, right? So I mean, let me see something here. Let's actually put them in their base defense so they can stop the run a little bit better. So they have 4 down linemen over here. I'm looking at Ed Oliver, and I'm looking at also if they're in nickel as well. I'm looking at Smoot here. I'm looking at the sizes of these guys, right? You're looking at 264 pounds for Dwayne Smoot, right? And then for Ed Oliver, who's as talented as they come, 70.4 grade, you're looking at 287, as opposed to a Daniel Falele, who's a whopping 380 pounds, right? So I think that this is a game where a guy like Daniel Falele can really take advantage of that defensive line. I said it at the very top of the show, right? The Ravens' offensive line outweighs the Bills' defensive line by about 400 pounds. And that's without Patrick Ricard getting in the mix like he likes to do a lot. So I just think that if the Ravens want to play bully ball, which I know they want to, this is the perfect game to do it. Like our guy Kevin said earlier today, like it seems like the Ravens, Bills, and Chiefs, they kind of like play like a game of like rock, paper, scissors, right? Like one is just a bad matchup for the other naturally. This is why the Bills are a bad matchup for the Baltimore Ravens, because of how heavy the Ravens are on the offensive line and their ability that they're going to be able to have to kind of make these holes and whatnot. Like we saw on the very first play, 1st and 10, 87-yard touchdown, was some phenomenal blocking, right? And those guys could just not get anything going until Derrick Henry was already at the second level and their DBs were chasing them down. So again, I just think there's some matchups here that we have to kind of take stock of and be aware of going into this game, and really just look at Travis Jones and Nnamdi Madubuike on defense, and then on offense for me, I'm looking at Daniel Falele, man. I'm looking at Falele. I want to see what he can do if he can push these guys around. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that a lot because I thought he had a solid game last week, and I'm gonna even add on here like we haven't brought up our Charlie Kolar, we haven't brought up our X Factor,
Ooh,
Josh Jones, who was just dogging guys last week. I mean, Josh Jones came in and said, "You know what? I'm here with a vengeance. I'm going to take some black and yellow and just throw them to the ground. Get out the way because my 22, my running back, my king, is getting through and going to go to the end zone." So stuff like that, it's like hard to prepare for. Now, when he comes in, I'd like to say is maybe get a little play action because you're going to commit to the run when you see 74 come in. You're going to expect
right.
us to run it, which we bring in the extra lineman. Give me a little play action of some Mark Andrews, something like that, which I would like. But
Yes.
I'm all with it right there. John Harbaugh, and I hate to say this, but John Harbaugh can be the ultimate. I know a lot more football than any of you couch coaches, me included. If Falele goes out there and has a generational game and shuts him up, he can just, that's the biggest middle finger to us fans. Like, you know what? Like, I stuck with this guy throughout the whole season. When you told me to bench him and he has a career game, I would be just over the moon if that were to happen because I would love to put my hands up and say, you know what, John, I should never doubt you again because you're right. So this could be his chance right there for Harbaugh's decision to really pay off or come back as an egg in the face. I'm leaning towards it paying off just because of what I saw last week. It was like a whole different player. It felt like
Yeah.
felt like a brand new player.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. And us here at the Purple Rain Podcast, as we have over 800 people now watching live. Again, hello, this is PRP. Make sure you hit the like button if you're on YouTube. If you're on X, hello. Maybe head over to YouTube, hit the like, subscribe to the channel as well. We do go live every Monday, Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, I mean, like you were saying, man, I just think with this one, if Falele was to have a really good game, we would have to give him his flowers. We would have
Mm-hmm.
to. And just like in the same right that with when it came to what's his name, the DC, Zach Orr. When it came to Zach Orr earlier this year, a lot of this fan base was killing him, but then he turned it around. This defense went from pretty much worst to first in every single category, and we got to tip our caps to him. And I won't let that same thing, you know, not happen for Daniel Falele, because if he were to perform this week and really push those guys around and be a pivotal point to that run game, kind of like an unsung hero, he would deserve his flowers 100%. 100%. So, okay, let's go ahead and get into one last topic here of the episode. So, Todd Monken, Ravens offensive coordinator, has been in the news recently, not necessarily just for his play calling with the Ravens and, his potential game plans or the play call sheet in the pants that he likes to do a whole lot, but he's been taking interviews. He's been taking calls. He's been taking interviews from other teams for head coaching positions. Now, let me preface this with this. I want guys to get opportunities to get promoted in this league, right? Just in general, right? Like if you have a job and you're out there and you're working hard and you're really producing, you're getting results and things like that, I want you to move up. I want you to be promoted naturally. When it comes to my football team, and the way that the NFL works and the whole not referee, but the coaching carousel that happens in this league, that exists in this league, leave my offensive coordinators alone. Leave my coordinators the hell alone, bro. Like I'm tired of this shit. Mike McDonald, you know, stud defensive coordinator, right? He missed the playoffs just barely this year with Seattle. I think he'll bounce back strongly next year with Seattle and whoever they have at quarterback. I don't think they should stick with Geno. That's just another story for another day. But you know, to now hear that Todd Monken might be on his way out after this season, it really does kind of rub me the wrong way, because it feels like we just can't have nice things, right, Alex? Like we have a coordinator, he's successful for a year or two, and he's just gone. And I think a lot of that has to do with the effect of Lamar Jackson as well, and just how good he is. I mean, even if you're a defensive coordinator, it kind of makes your job a little bit easier, right? When Lamar Jackson's out there putting points up, like he did last year, right? I think the largest point differential in the league last year. Makes it a little bit easier. And then, of course, offensive coordinator, it speaks for itself. He's calling the plays, Lamar's executing. So it seems like we can't have nice things. Alex, I want to get your take on this whole Todd Monken interviewing during the playoffs, and what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I wish it could wait till longer, until games are being played. I saw that Cliff Kingsbury is not interviewing until after the Manders season ends, whenever that may be. But it definitely sucks because I want my guys to be focused, and I know he's focused and locked in. But that's however long these interviews are. It's like just another distraction, and we don't need that. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are interviewing. Other guys, other coordinators are. So I'm not considering play victim because other guys are. But I just wish you could wait until after. You know what I mean? Like wait until the season's over. You have time, but at the same time, maybe you don't have time because free agency starts a month after the season's over, or the tampering period, the legal tampering period.
Right.
So I just wish we could wait longer, but unfortunately you can't, and that's just how the game goes. I'll tell you this: I don't think he gets a head coaching job. I don't think it's this year. I think it's because of his age. Everybody wants that young guy. Everybody wants that younger guy, that 30-year-old guy. The Browns, the OC is now 32. That McVay tree, they're looking at. Shalah's still pretty young. He might go to the Cowboys. I saw Ben Johnson might go to the Raiders. The Bears honestly might get Mike McCarthy because that would make no sense to be not the best hire, but that makes a lot of sense for them. I know they want him. So honestly, and then the Jags, I don't know where they're gonna go, but I think he stays in Baltimore. I do. When it comes push comes to shove, I think he's gonna stay a Raven.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I hope you're right, to be honest with you. But let's just say, again, hypothetically speaking, let's say the Ravens win the Super Bowl. The Ravens put on an absolute offensive masterclass these next 3 games. I think he's gone. And I just think he's gone, man. I just don't think that you can turn that down. There's a reason why he's getting these interviews already as is, right? They're seeing what the Ravens are doing in real time. There's primetime games for the rest of the season, right? It's playoff time. So everybody's going to be watching under the lights what Todd Monken is going to do. And if he keeps sprinkling in things like, different things like, oh, here's Derrick Henry and the Wildcat, right? And now this week against Buffalo, here's another little wrinkle and a new evolution of this Ravens offense. And if he keeps doing that, I think that that'll just keep attracting other teams around the league to kind of give him a call and say, hey, what are you doing on Wednesday or Thursday next week? You think you can come in or hop online for an interview? We would love to interview you for our head coaching position. I think that could totally happen again, like multiple times. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I hope you're right. I hope he does stay, like kind of regardless. But if the Ravens keep performing like they do, and I fully expect Lamar Jackson to go out there and make Todd Monken continue to look good, then I think Todd Monken might be gone. So that's just me.
If he does go, T. Martin can take over. It's right there. There's your next OC.
Oh, T. Martin. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he can take over if Monken were to go. And I'll tell you this right now. I don't want to speak it into existence, but Chuck Smith will be the next coach gone defensively. I think I hate to say it, unless we give him a big pay bump, it's hard to see him not getting interviews for DC positions. This guy has made us a team that we couldn't buy a guy to get 10 sacks. Now, back-to-back years, multiple guys 10 sacks. Are you kidding me? It's not that these players have just gone to sleep and woke up that much better. No, it's been there. It's him finding that talent, him putting him in the right positions. I hate to say it, yeah, like how Anthony Weaver, we knew he would go somewhere else. I think Chuck Smith is the next guy that'll go to be a DC and be a good one at that.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think you're spot on with that for sure, which would really hurt, because like you said, it seemed at a point that this Ravens defense could not buy a sack, like you said. And now for us to lead the league in sacks last year and then come up in second this year in sacks, that's huge. It's literally a night and day difference. And it's been it's been a big reason why our defense is what it is, this season, or at least at this point in the season, right? But okay. Enough about coaches. I do actually have one more thing that came to mind, right? The Ravens, they picked up Deontay Johnson, right, off of waivers.
We're trolls.
Yes, it's just, aren't we? Because at first, when I first saw that, not understanding exactly what was going on, I just saw like the notification come on my ESPN or Twitter or whatever it was, and I was like, did we really just go back out and get Deontay Johnson again? But then I looked into it a little bit more. It means that, his season is effectively over. He wouldn't be eligible to play for the Ravens until after the Super Bowl, which obviously wouldn't matter. So we'll cut him. And then if he gets a lucrative enough deal, a big enough deal, we'll get a comp pick out of him. So that's the reason why they went ahead and claimed him off of waivers again. But what do you think about the whole situation?
You see, I respect it. I respect that you know what you want and you're going to get it. As for Mr. Deontay Johnson, I don't know if he does get signed. I'll tell you that. And this isn't me speaking as a Ravens fan. It's me speaking as an NFL fan. That's now 4 teams in a calendar year that have letting you go. 4.
Yeah.
Is it the 4 teams or is it you? As my AirPods die, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't think he gets to get signed immediately. I think we might not get a comp pick because nobody wants him. But yeah, Deontay, it's not looking good for you.
Yeah, and like you said, that's kind of like the common denominator there. Um, Deontay Johnson has been a cancer pretty much everywhere he's gone. I just simply do not understand how you can be complaining after a win, right? The story was the Houston Texans were in the locker room, right? And they were celebrating their win over the Chargers, their wild card victory, smoking cigars, the vibes were high, and this guy Deontay Johnson decides to start a ruckus and make it about himself. He just went, you know what? How can I make this about myself right now? How can I make this about Deontay Johnson? And he went ahead and I guess started talking about how he needs more targets and things like that. And it's like, bro, like, do you not realize that football is a team sport and your team just won and got that much closer to getting you a ring, right? Potentially. So it's just like, shut up, bro. Just shut up and play. Like honestly, at the end of the day, like I'm sorry to say it like that, and I'm actually not sorry to say it like that because it's just like selfish. It's just selfish. You know, if all that stuff were to be true, like it's just truly selfish of him. And I'm glad that he will never wear a Ravens uniform again. You know, but I am interested to know, again, hypothetically speaking, if the Ravens were to win a Super Bowl, would he get a ring? Because he's not on the roster. Right? He would. Ah,
I don't know actually if he's on the practice squad. That's a good question. That maybe we find out. But
hmm.
3 more games.
3 more games. 3 more games. Like our guy Alex said, he's locked in. One game at a time, and I love it. I love it. But okay, I
Can I
think we're
say
gonna
one
go
more
ahead
thing
and
real quick?
oh yeah,
That
go
I
ahead,
put a
go ahead.
tweet
Yeah.
out. Sorry if there's any echo because my AirPods died. Real quick. I don't know if you saw a tweet of this. This Ravens team has a lot of pull. All right. I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling and I see a former soccer player, a World Cup winner, a Champions League winner, has won many, many trophies. Was at the Ravens game as a fan. Like this Ravens team right now is going international. We got tons of fans in London. We got Germany. We have people in here, from Portugal watching. We have got to get that big trophy because the amount of I'm speaking as just like business wise, the amount of money that you can make off of a Super Bowl win, with Lamar being the face, that jersey. I mean, I don't want to think about just the amount of money that can be made from just one Super Bowl win. It's unreal. Bashadi, I know, is licking his lips right now, salivating at the amount of just funds you can make. It's unbelievable, unreal.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, I didn't know that they were that popular internationally, and I know that you follow football, like the real football. So like all these things going on around the world. But it makes me think, like you just mentioned, Roger Goodell. He's probably like salivating right now just the thought of the Ravens winning a championship and Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team becoming like a household name internationally, like worldwide, because that would mean that the NFL is worldwide again. And most people know what the NFL is. Most people watch the Super Bowl, but if they tuned into a Lamar Jackson Super Bowl where he goes out there and he performs and he wins it, guarantee you they're going to pull some strings and they're going to have Baltimore go overseas to wherever next season and play a regular season game. I don't know if they locked all those in yet. Have they? Do you know? Because I know they announced one game. I think. Well, no, I think they announced the locations, but not the matchups just yet. I want to say. So I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, the Colts are playing in Berlin. I see we have Sam in here. He went to he lives in England. He went to the Ravens Titans game. How many Ravens fans were there? Since you were there, I would love to know like just an estimate of like the percentage of the stadium. How many were there? I know the Colts are playing in Berlin. Jags are obviously playing in London as they always do. I think the Browns are going to go there as well. I think maybe the Jets, but their matchups. Still, I mean, it could be Ravens Browns overseas. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, totally could. And either way, I'm here for it. I know you're here for it. I know the Rain Gang and the Ravens block is all here for it as well. But listen, we're going to go ahead and leave it there for this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. It has been an amazing one. Episode 293, only 7 off from 300 right now. And I think Alex did the math. Episode 300 would be the day after the Super Bowl, I want to say, which is just like perfect timing, to be honest with you. So let's just take it one game at a time, and hopefully we can get to where we want to get, which is the promised land that Lamar Jackson's hoisting it up, and he makes good on his promise of they're gonna get a Super Bowl out of him. I believe it still. I believe it.
Yeah. 3 games. Real quick, Sam says it here. He was at the game last year. He said 70% were Ravens fans and like 15% Titans fans. It was crazy, which means 15% you're miscellaneous, just football fans. 70% of
Yeah.
Ravens fans at a game in London. Think about that. Let that sink in. We have the pool. We have it. So let's just get that trophy to really just make it that much sweeter.
Yeah. I mean, according to a lot of the people I'm sure live in over across the pond in London. Lamar Jackson is one of the best footballers in the NFL, you know, quite simply put. And he's exciting to watch. I see those videos on time all the time on YouTube where it's like, oh, international soccer player such and such watches Lamar Jackson for the first time, and I click on it, it's like they're watching like in awe of what he's able to do on the football field. So I mean, no surprise there on why he's so popular. But again, man, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out to this episode. Dre says it's been great, y'all. I appreciate you for coming through. The Don in the house is great show. Stay positive, test negative, and always call God. And Ravens belt to as Bills. That's what I'm talking about, man. With the demon emojis, man. It's about that time. It's about that time. I cannot wait, me personally, for Sunday night football against the Bills in Highmark Stadium. I don't care that it's in Buffalo. I don't care that it's going to be cold. I don't care that it might snow. I don't care that it's going to be windy. Just win. Just win. That is like my biggest message to, you know, to kind of end this off right here, right now. Just win. Play your game. Do not get out coached. And honestly, control the clock. Control the clock, man. I mean, that's going to be the biggest key. You got two superstar quarterbacks on both sidelines. You're going to have to play keep away. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. Playing keep away. And I think that's my biggest keys to victory to kind of end this one out. Alex, you got anything else?
No, like K-Dog says it here, thank you to all 800 that came through to check out the stream. Thank you to Ramey, Ingraven, Kevin, Sam for taking time out of their nights, which they didn't have to do.
Yes.
They really didn't have to, and came by and spent it with us, 30 minutes. We really appreciate that. Thank you all. We love you. I hope it's a nice Victory Monday for us, and just keep these good vibes going on, this good stream. As always, stay freaking positive and test negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And never, ever, ever forget to like the video. Also subscribe to the channel as well. But never, ever, ever forget to call God. This is episode 293 of PRP. We're going to catch you.